Hi everyone, this is Mark Costin, and today we're going to talk about how to integrate Asana with Qlik Cloud using Asana REST APIs. But before we started, I have a few messages. I'm a captain of a Qlik meetup group in Atlanta, and a co-organizer of 3 other cities, Boston, Dallas, and Portland. In this meetup application here, if you go to this URL, you see all the meetup groups you have close to you. So just look at this side, check one of these groups, and just join it. So on other places to have other places where you can learn about Qlik are Qlik Nation. So Qlik Nations is very interesting. It's a community where you have daily challenges where you can have rewards. Just collecting points, and then through these points you can exchange this for prizes. You have discussions where you can learn about what's going on in Qlik, and so there's a lot of stuff here. And one that you're probably familiar with is the Qlik community. So Qlik communities is like the forums, different forums in Qlik. So there are multiple topics. So if you have any questions, just let people know what question do you have, and definitely someone you show up to help you here. Okay, so now let's get started. So let me close these things first. And okay, so first, thank you, Asana, for providing me a developer account. So I have this account here that I just use for developer and tutorials purposes. And this is my account. So I just have 2 projects. So this is one added by default. I just included one task here, and then I have created this new one here. And okay. So the very first thing we need to do in order to integrate your solution with the REST API, Asana REST API, is to go to the console, and you need to create a personal access token. They call it PAT. So if you don't know where to start and how to do it, there is an excellent documentation here. So if you just go to Docs, you have everything here. So if you go to the authentication, you have everything about the personal access token. You also have a link to the developer console if you don't know how to get there. You have this other authentication method, but it's not the one that we're going to cover here. This is more when you're integrating applications. So we stay with the personal access token. So here you have all the instructions of how you can create yours. I already have mine created, so this is mine. So when you create a personal access token, it will give you a number. So this is your token. You have to record this token in order to do your API calls. So this is a very important thing. This is how you connect to the Asana REST API. So, all right. So this is more like the overall guides. And then finally here, you have the API reference. So what we're going to do here is will be just 3 steps. One, to list the projects we have inside Asana. The second one, to list the tasks. And the third one is to get the task details. So if I go here, go back to my my home, my portal. So I'm going to list those two projects and the tasks inside each one and the details inside each one of the tasks. Okay, so we're going to capture some of this information. All right, so APIs can be very scary at the beginning, especially if you're not used to how REST APIs works. Fortunately, this documentation of Asana API is very good. So it's very friendly. They have a lot of examples and it's just easy to use. So let's take the projects for instance. So this here is all the possible, I would say, entities you can have access. So here we have projects. So if you click on projects, it expands and shows to us all the endpoints we have available and how you can call it. So if it's a get, it's a post, if it's a put, delete, and etc. So for us, we are interested to list all the projects we have. So then we have this get multiple projects, okay? So this is where it starts to shine, the good documentation they have. So here first, you have different languages. So right now we'll be using just the shell. So the shell provides us the curl command. But if you're using, for instance, C#, you have a snippet of the code here where you can copy it and do and put in your C# code. But for now, we're going to use shell. So why we're going to use the shell? So before moving to Qlik Sense, I always recommend always choose Postman to do your REST API test. Why? So you're just removing every variable in complexity that Qlik may be introducing between your REST APIs and your Qlik application. So Postman is a free and excellent client to do your REST API tests. So let's try it. So I have here my Postman. I already have my workspace I called Asana. And then I create a node here, REST APIs. So this is just for organization. Okay, so let's see how easy is that. So when you start here with the Asana API, you not have this authorization field here populated. You'll be just blank. So you have to get your the token you have created and paste here. So this is just to help you to populate the curl command. So, okay, fine. How can I use this curl command? So I would just, you can actually read this and try to replicate in your Qlik connection or in Postman. But the easiest way is just to go here, copy. So go here, import, and then you just paste it. That's it. So Postman is compatible with the curl command, so it's smart enough to figure out, okay, how can I translate this to in a way that you can execute those commands. So I will go here. Request name is just the name you're putting this. I put the same name that we have in Asana documentation. Okay, so import. So then the curl command already populates the things that I need in order to execute the command. So it puts the method get. So if you go back here, you see it's a get. It puts the URL and also the headers. So the headers has two parameters. One is the accept application JSON and the authorization. So it populates everything for you. So if I click on send, this is going to send this command to Asana REST API, and then you return a result. So these results are usually in JSON format. So then we have here the answers we need. So you see the 2 projects I have, the cross-functional project plan and the web platform development project. So if I go back here to my home, these are the 2 projects. And the important thing here later that we need is the GID. So this is the ID of my projects. Good? Good. Okay. So you keep this. So this is working fine. So I know this is working. I'm capable of doing a request using Postman. So that means here I have every single information I needed to reproduce in Qlik. Okay, fine. So now let's move on. And the next thing I need is tasks. Okay. So now you're going to go here for every single project and you check the tasks inside. So let me go there and tasks and get multiple tasks. So here I can see 2, get multiple tasks and get task. So if I go to get task, it's where I have more detailed information about the task. So we kind of expand the task, and it requires a task ID. If I go to get multiple tasks, so it requires 2 things, potentially 2 things. So it's could be a project, could be a workspace, and I think there is an assigning. So you can get for one of those. So I would choose the project, but you can do something else. And if you check here in the documentation, it says this is a query parameter. So this will be inside the URL. So this you have to be aware, and this the request, the curl command does not provide to us because it's an optional thing. So let me get this. So again, I'm going to get multiple tasks by projects. So copy this command and I go back to here to Postman. I'm clicking import again, paste it. So it understands that. And I call it get multiple tasks. Okay, import collection. So if I try to request it, it will return an error. So you should specify one workspace, project, tag, section, user, task list. For more information, this is a great example of a well-documented API. So usually REST APIs are not that friendly, so this one is a very good one. Okay, so then I need the project. So how I do this? So this is a query parameter. So I can type here myself, or I can just go here to the parameters and I type project. Okay, and the value is one of the IDs. So I take this one, go back here, and I do, the value will be this. So you see, at the same time I'm populating the query parameters here, Postman is including these things here. So if I do the request now, I'm expecting to see 4 tasks. So let me expand this. So those are the tasks I have, and those are the task IDs. Okay, so you're getting somewhere. So all right, so what I can do is, and by the way, see, here I can only see the summary. So what's the task name? That's it. So I don't have any other information. If you're trying to see who are assigning to this task or any other information, it's not here. So this is just a list of the tasks inside this project. So if you have another project, if I copy this other ID here, and I try here, just change. By the way, you can change it here, or you can just change it here. It doesn't matter. It will keep in sync. So I send again. This is 3 tasks. Good. Now, the last one is to get a task. Okay? So, now the path parameters, this is required. So we must provide a task ID. So, okay, copy here, go back to Postman, import again, paste it, and get, I would use the same name, get a task. Okay, import collection. So now we have to provide the headers, same. Now here, the way they use this, in this case, the task ID, you have to replace here. So this is another kind of pattern. It's not a parameter, it's just part of the URL. So just go here, let me get the first task ID, replace here, and let me save and try. You don't need to save, but I'm just saving here. I send a request, boom. So we have the JSON structure for this task. So task ID, assignee, so it's another object. Then we have the status, is it completed or not, when it was created, custom fields. So everything here, it's a big JSON file. But again, this is just for one task. So this is a lot of information. Good. All right. Okay. So now we know that we know how to call your APIs, and we know it works. So it should work in Qlik. So there is nothing here that it's not allowing you to consume this REST API in Qlik. So you know all the parameters, you know how they work, and you're just going to tweak a few things to make it more flexible in Qlik. All right. So let's get started in Qlik. So here I have Qlik Cloud. Okay. So I'm going to create everything inside this Qlik Meetup. So some of the things that I do for our Qlik Meetup group, by the way, join our groups. So I will start from the scratch here, a new Qlik application. So there are different ways to do this. So I would do, this will be a more complicated way, but it's closer to a real project. So we are going to connect to these REST APIs, and for each one, we are going to extract this information and store in Qlik as a Parquet file. It's very common to save as a QVD file, but right now, personally, I'm trying to use Parquet files as much as I can because it's an open format and it's very fast and very light. So it's great to store in the cloud, like Amazon S3 is perfect for that. So it's very cost cheap and it's very fast. But I will be storing this in Qlik Cloud, and the method that I use is to create one QVD file per data set. And sorry, I'm going to create one Qlik application per Parquet file. So it's 1-to-1. So the code I have inside one application will be responsible to create that Parquet file. And so in this case, it will be projects, another one for tasks, and another one for task detail. So let's do this. So you can do this basically in two ways. One is new analytics app. So this is more the conventional way you see everywhere. So people are just create analytic apps, do the load script, execute all the commands, perfect. The other one, this is new, kind of new, is the script. So the script is just to do this kind of operation we are going to do. So we are going to get the data from any data source, and we are going to store as a file, KVD, CSV, Parquet files. So for that, we're going to create a script. But before we start creating all these things, let me first show one of the other features of Qlik Cloud. So I can go to the space details and just create the connections here. So I'm going to do the connections. All right. So let me see the ones that I have here. Okay, just have these two. So I have one to Azure SQL Database and Igor. You have the Qlik AutoML. So I'm going to add a new connection. Okay, so how do I connect to a REST API or a platform? So Asana, for now, does not have a specific connection in Qlik. So if I look for Salesforce, for instance, you have a specific one. If I look for Jira, we also have one. So Asana doesn't have one, but this is not bad news because you can create a REST connection. So I go to the REST connection here. So I click this option. So then we have all the parameters needed to do the same sort of connection that we have here in Postman. So again, just what's the deal with Postman? So Postman is just to help you to understand how the REST API works, how to make it work, and make sure that it's working. So if you have that working here, you'll be pretty much, you just need to reproduce the same things. All right. So let's do it. So first, we'll need one REST connection for every single node here. So we have 3 REST connections in Qlik at the end. So, okay, let's start with get multiple projects. I will copy this one. I'll go here. This is my URL. Same thing, nothing different. You don't need to worry about anything here. By the way, this is the method we're selecting. So this will be the get. Okay. So don't need to change anything. Authentication is where we have to change, but actually this one is fine. This one uses the authentication header. So just scroll all the way down. So we have query parameters, we have query headers. So query headers is the one that we need. So I'll go here to the headers. You just need to copy it. So go copy this one, put the values, just do the exact same thing. You need another line here in the query headers. So this is for the authentication. This is how Asana knows that's you doing the requests. Okay. I will put the same name. So I think I have set everything. So let me test connection. Okay, good. So, all right. Create. So I will see here the get multiple projects. So this one I will initiate. Actually, let's create the other ones. So go to the add connection, REST. We can change later, so don't worry about that. So I go to get multiple tasks. So I collect this. Okay, paste here. And now we have a tricky point now. And I will do this. We check that later. So we have the URL. So you don't need to change anything. It's get methods. Go all the way down. We have the query headers. Same thing. Okay. Copy. Paste. Copy here. Add an extra one. And copy here. And paste here. Okay. All right. I could set the query parameters here like we have here. But I think for this one, it's easier to just let this here in the URL. And this is a tricky one. Like, let me just send the name here. So this is for a specific, so the URL that I have here is for a specific project, right? So what if I need the tasks for another project? How I'm doing? I have to create another REST API. What if I have 30 projects? I have to create 30 extra connectors? No. So that's why we have this allow with connection. So when you check allow with connection, when you call this API, you're able to overwrite some of the properties. So in this case, we are going to overwrite this project URL. And okay, so I will keep this for now, but in the, later we are going to see another trick here that will help us to get a large amount of records, is the pagination. But let's keep this like this for now. So let me test. Good. Okay. Create. So we have this get multiple tasks. And then finally, we are going to create this one right here. REST. And same URL. Again, we change this. I'll go to the headers again. Copy. I know that I need 2 headers. Go here. Application JSON. Authorization. Okay. By the way, guys, don't share your token to anybody. I for sure I'm going to change this one after I finish this video. So add the name. Keep it secret always. So get a task. And again, this is a hard-coded task ID. We know that we have multiple tasks and we're going to rename them. So we have to overwrite this URL. So then I will just check allow with connection here. Okay. So task connection. Perfect. Great. Okay. So we have the initial REST APIs that we need. So the first one that we're going to use is to get multiple projects. Okay. So by the way, if you need to change anything, you can just click here. You can change. This is one way to do it, but probably we are going to change this inside our scripts. So good. So again, there are multiple ways to do it. And like I said, I'm going to do this as close as possible of a real world project. So the way you're used to implement in our company. So I will have one Parquet file per data set. And I will have one Qlik application. In this case, it will be a script per data set. So the first one that I'm going to create is the project. So then I'm going to here go add new a script. Again, I could use the analytics app. Personally, I'm still more comfortable to the analytics app than script, but I'm trying to get used to it. So that's why I'm doing the script here. Okay. So let me click here. So first, a name convention. I have to name this script. So now there's a very good step of creating a naming convention. So the naming convention that we usually use is what's the layer of the data that I'm using. So usually layer 1 is the type of the application or script that's connecting to your data source, a database, a REST API, and is getting the data and to store offline as a QVD file or a Parquet file. So to short layer 1, we just do L1. And then usually I put the data set name. So in this case is projects. And what is this app about? So I will call, so it's common to see QVD builder, but since I'm trying to save as a Parquet file, I will use data builder. Okay, so the intention of this script is connect to the REST API to collect the data from Asana and store in Qlik as a Parquet file. That's it. So then you can use this Parquet file in your analytics application. So it will work offline. You work disconnected from Asana. So if you lost your access to Asana, you still have the data as you have the last time you have populated it. Okay, so we have this check here to open the script. Let me not check this because it will open the same page. So I prefer to open in a different tab. So let's create it. So it should be here, scripts. Okay, oh, we have some. Nice. Okay, so I have this projects. So this is the one that we have created. So let me go here and open. You can open a new tab, or you can right click here to open in a new tab. So this interface is a little bit different from what we have for the regular analytic apps. So what we have to use here is the editor. Okay, so go to the editor. So now this is where it gets very similar to what we have in the analytics app. Since we have our connections already created, this will be very straightforward. So I'll go here. So this is my get multiple projects connection. I'll just click here in this button to select data. Again, you can edit your connection here. If you find any problem, you can do it. You can change from here. But I just need to get the data. So go here. So sometimes your wizard will not show everything. So then I always get the no limit here. So it just preloads everything. In this case, it's good. So we have, so I don't want to take every single field. So just take the GID and the name. So now, okay, so let's start doing it. So what Qlik is doing here, it's connecting to your REST API. And since it's connected, it's executing this select command on top of my REST connection and collecting the data. This part here is totally optional, but this is how Qlik convention creates this step here, but it's totally optional. You can do this in many different ways. So let's reload this. I will click on export data, and you can see okay, so it's just giving let me go again here. It's giving me an alert so no store statements were executed. So the script, it's to create files. Since I don't have any store command, it's saying, hey, you're missing this command here. So just fix it. And then here you can see the preview of the data. So now I will start adding some conventions here. Okay. So first thing, I don't want to call this GID here because I know GID is the common field to return the ID of the projects or the tasks. So I will add a unique name for this one. So it's simple as that. So I will call this as project ID, okay, and this as project name. So you can add this. It's totally optional here. You can just say name or project name. So it's totally up to you. So I'm using this one here. And again, and also it's important to call this products, just to name the file that you're creating. Okay. And all right. So now a little bit about this. So what this is doing. So REST connector master table is just a table that Qlik creates to get the how do you call that? Is to get the landing data. Okay. Then we do some small manipulation here just to rename the field from, you see the resident is from a pre-populated table in memory table. So we use the resident. So resident points to a existing table. In this case, is the REST connector master table. So I have this one here, get the data from the REST connector, manipulate the fields and call as a different table name, and then we drop this table from the memory, the table here. So we just have this one here. So what I have to do now is let's store this as a Parquet file. So store products into, so this is the path that we needed, data files products dot Parquet and Parquet. So this is the command. It's similar to the QVDs. So QVD, the difference will be that this will be .qvd, and inside here, outside here, between the parentheses will be QVD. So what is this? So this is just saying that it's pointing to these data files here. So think this as a folder. It's not exactly a folder, but this is where you store offline files. So if you click here to select data, select script. Oh, this is interesting. What is this? Okay. So, oh, I like this. Just let me try this one. Oh, cool. It gives the full path. This is very interesting. Oh, look at this. I didn't know that. Parquet and products. Look at this. I never use it. So let's try it. So it creates the whole thing for us. The thing here is you could fully qualify the connection. So it use Qlik Meetup. So this is the space name that where I am. If you don't do it, you can just leave like that, or use like this, or just like that. Qlik will store this in the space where the script belongs. I prefer to keep like this. Okay, so let me use this. Okay, I like to use the square brackets. It's not required in this case, but let's use it. So what I'm expecting to see now is, after the load of this, I'm going to store the products records from Asana source into this Parquet file. So if I check here, when I checked here, I'm expected to see products. By the way, I don't think this is the same products from Asana. So I'm expected to see products.parquet file. So let's try it. Export data. You'll probably not see anymore that alert. So good. All right. Preview. Can I see something? Okay. I still see it. But so Parquet file is a little bit dangerous. So sometimes if Qlik misunderstands the type of the field, the columns may be blank, so you have to check it. So how can we check this? So let me go here to the select data, see the Parquet file. Where is it? I don't see it here. Is my store command incorrect? So let me try the 2 dots here. Let's try like this and see what happens. Okay, so let me check again. Okay, it's right here. Good. Sorry about that. So we check here, select. So I should see both columns populated. Okay, so this is good. So both are in this case are strings. We could convert this to numbers, but let's keep as they are now. Okay, perfect. So what we are seeing here? So we have connected to Parquet data source, collect the data, and then we store this data as a Parquet file. Parquet file is like a CSV file, like a text file. Don't kill me about saying that. It's just like a file in your Windows folder. So this file now is independent from the Asana. So if you lose your account, this data will still here. It will be here forever. So that's why we call offline data. But if you change something here on Asana, if you create a new project, this will not be reflected in your Parquet file. So this will be reflected in your Parquet file only after you refresh your export data. You'll see that for tasks. So because tasks are easier to create. Okay, so we have our first one created. So we have the projects. Okay, and keep those field names in mind. So we have the project ID and the project name. Perfect. So now let me close this. Oh, by the way, if I go to overview, I can you see the output of this data file. You can reload from here. So if you reload, you see the number of rows, fields. If you go to reload history, you see the reloads you did from the summary. You can have access to the log, also the tail log. So if you click here, you see everything that everything that happened during your load process. Okay, good. All right. So now let's go to get multiple tasks. We can use the same script. So L1 projects data builder. So you can duplicate. Where is it? Duplicate. If you create a copy of it, you can rename. So this, to follow the same name convention, this will be called tasks. Okay. All right. Save it. Let me open in another tab and go to editor. So now this will be a little bit different. I know that at the end my table will be called tasks, my data set will be called tasks, and my Parquet file will be called tasks. So now let me delete the whole thing. I will just keep this line at the end. Let me comment for now. So now get tasks is a different thing. So we have this parameter here, the project. So we have set up this already in advance. So let's go here and see what we have when we just use it as it is. Okay. So I'm going to select tasks. Again, change this to no limit. So you can see multiple things here. So then we'll see all the tasks for that project ID. So collect this and this, and it should be fine. So go insert. Okay. And I will change this to as task ID, as task name, and I'll call this tasks. Okay. Perfect. So let's run. It should tell me that I don't have a store statement. Okay, no problem. Continue. In the preview, you see four tasks. Okay. So let's do a small change here. So just you see that if I change my API here, so I have this task called Qlik Meetup, create a Qlik Meetup demo app. So I would just do, instead of app, I would say script. Okay, that's it. So now, if we reload again, see, this is the one. When I reload again, I'm connecting again to the REST API and collecting the data from Asana. So let me do again. Okay, so it changes to demo script. Fine. Okay, so good. So what if I need the tasks for the other project? You just gave me the tasks, where is it? Of this project ID. What if I need from the other project ID? So this is where we have the magic of the allow with connection. Remember, we check this allow with connections. You must check this in order to do this. So when you do it, you can just go here. This is a little bit tricky. So you do with connection. So you open close parentheses, and then it allows us to change the parameters. So I'll just use the URL, and instead of typing the URL here, like the one we have, I will add a variable. So just call get multiple tasks URL. Okay, and I need to define it. So let me do this right here. And I'll do a let. So this is how I can set a variable. I'm using I could use a set, but I'll use a let for now. So, and this would be the variable equals the single quotes, and I need the variable name. Okay. So I'm taking this URL. I'm adding exactly the one I had before. So this is the same I have originally here. So I should not, it ends with 846. So it shouldn't make any difference. So I'm just checking if my command is correct. Okay. So you should see all these guys here. By the way, if you don't know what is this about, you can copy this and you can just go to Qlik with connection. So let me see. So we have inside the Qlik connectors help the select and load data from REST data source. It talks about the with connection and the parameters we can override. Okay, and it gives us some example. So this is where we put we can override the URL. I don't think it's case sensitive, but I will keep everything uppercase for now. where you can type the query parameters, the HTTP header, the body. So this is an important one. So the most common ones are the body and the URL. So we are just use the URL for now. So good. I put this link in the comment because it was a little bit tricky to find. Okay, so let me put this aside. All right, so I will try this and see how it goes. So it should have the same results because I'm just using the same URL here, so it should be the same. Let me just put a different tab here. Good. So let's try it. I'm just testing. Okay. Oh no, some string. URL with connection. Oh, sure. It's all right. We need the double quotes. That's it. Perfect. Okay. So the same for tasks. If you go to the help, it says I just forgot about the double quotes. So we need the double quotes. Okay. So, all right. So that means if I get the second project, another project ID here, I would have three tasks, right? If I go here, the second project, we have 3 tasks. Okay, so let me execute again. I should see the 3 tasks. Perfect. All right, so we know that if we change the project ID, we are going to set separate sets. Okay, but you can tell, okay, but how? I don't want to add manually every time my project ID. It doesn't make any sense. So I should loop through those values and automatically populate them. So how can I do that? So we can do that using, remember we have the projects IDs from the previous get multiple projects, so we can reuse it. So if I go here and I'll just get that Parquet file, and I just need the project ID. I don't need the name. I just need the ID, because the IDs are the values that I'm looking for. So just click insert. So now I can do this. I would just call this projects. I always like to name my data sets. If I don't do it, Qlik will most part of the time will figure out perfectly. But I just put it just in case. It makes it easier to read your application. So I'll go here. So this will list me the project IDs. And what I'm going to do here, I'm using a for each loop. But to do a for each loop, you can use the project ID field name. But every time I do it, I just like to do this as project ID loop. This is just a convention I personally use. You don't need to. It's just to identify to myself that I'm loading this table just to loop through the records. And one other thing, I think scripts deletes every single table at the end of the project, but it's a good practice to, when you just temporarily reading the table, you call it temp projects. And when you don't need it anymore, that would be at the end of the project, you also do a drop table. Let me put after this. Drop table temp projects. So this, I don't think it's needed because it's a script, but just do it, just in case. So I'm loading this just to get the list of project ID loop, the project IDs I need. and I can drop at the end of the project. I don't need to keep this in memory in the memory of my application. So now, okay, good. So there are different ways to do loops. For this case, I think the most appropriate one is to do the for each. So for each project ID, I will call this v from variable project ID in field value list. So open parentheses, and you paste the field value. That's why I like to project ID loop. So it must be between single quotes. And then you do the next v project ID. So this is the structure of my for each loop. So for each value inside this collection, capture this v project ID. And then at the end of the loop process, go to the next one. So this is just to loop through the possible values inside my list of project IDs, okay? In my case, it will be just 2. So then what I can do here is to copy this whole thing and put inside my loop, including the URL. So get this, put inside my loop here. So now one other thing that helps users to understand what's inside the loop, you just add some, just press tab a few times here, so we know this whole command here is going to happen inside this loop here. So for each project ID inside here, this collection, I will do this. So I get my URL. So how do I use this project ID, the value from here, in my URL? So I have to replace this with the vProject URL. You can concatenate, you can combine these strings in different ways, but since this is already a string, you can inject your variable like this. So just open the $ in parentheses. This is how Qlik use the variables, and put the variable name inside here. So now this you get, you'll be changed and you'll be used here. And you can do another cool thing is, how do I know, how can I visually know or store that in my logs that I'm actually requesting this task list? So we can do a trace. A trace visually gives us a message and also it stores that in the log file. So I just do here trace getting tasks from project, and then I use project ID. Boom, boom, boom. Okay. And then let me use a colon here. Perfect. All right. Okay. Now, I forgot about this one. I moved this here. So everything will remain the same. Okay. So for each loop here, you set the URL. You let the users know what project ID you're running. Connect, so the connection is already established here. You don't need to put this inside the loop. You could, but in this case it's not required because it's a small connection. So we call the REST command passing the new URL. We set the tasks data set, renaming the fields, and we drop this table right here. And so this table remains in memory. So the next loop, we do the same thing, but we set a different project ID. We collect the data. We combine this data, the previous loaded project with the new one. We drop this data here, and then we drop the table that contains the list of project IDs, and then we good. So what I'm expecting here to see at the end are 7 tasks. So, oh, and one more thing. How do I know from each task what's the associated project? So we can manually go here, copy this, and then we add a new field here. So this is very powerful. So I can just go here and call as project ID. So we know this task here is associated to this project. So the data set I'm expecting here in the end is project ID, task name, and 7 rows, because it's the combination of the rows from this project and this project right here. Okay, let's execute it. Okay, this is a good sign. So I have 7 here. Okay, so if I expand this, so I have the project ID 846. 846 is the one with 4 tasks. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, and the other one has 3. 746. 1, 2, 3. Then we have the task ID and the task name. Perfect. So this is all we need. Okay, great. So now the only thing we need is the store command. So we go here, and so now what we're going to do is to get this data and store as a Parquet file. Okay, so let's try it. Perfect. So let me go here to the data files folder where I'm storing the Parquet file, and check if I really have the tasks.parquet file. Okay, I always check if we have all the columns populated. If you have a problem, the column will be blank. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, all here. So since our field data, you can see everything in preview. Okay, so what if I add a new task? So let me go here and I just add another task here. So another task, validate the Parquet files. Okay, all right. So if I check my Parquet file, so go here again, Parquet file, tasks.parquet, and it's selected, I will still see only the 7 records. Why? Why are you just seeing the 7 records? Because I haven't repopulated my Parquet file, so I have to export this code again to get the data from the Asana REST API and recreate the task.parquet file. So let me go this. I expect to see 8 records here at the end. Good. So if I check here, now you see the new task, validate the Parquet files. And so since we have the store command here, if I check my data files, my Parquet file, task.parquet files, you see it again. Okay, so we have the validated Parquet files, the new tasks. All right. Okay. And let's again go to overview. We can see here, I will not have a reload history unless I check the reload now here. So I'm clicking here. And so I can see the reload history here. Good. Now, okay, we have all our tasks. But what if we have a large amount of records? So what if we have, I think Asana returns up to 100 records. And so what if we have more than 100 tasks? How we handle that? How we handle pagination? So how can I go from my initial request and add extra records to it? So Qlik actually supports and implements different methods to do pagination. So if we go to Asana documentation, it does. If I go to go multiple tasks, you see we have a few parameters that we can play with. So the limit, it just tells you how many results per page. If you investigate the limit, it does not recommend us to go to 100%, to 100 records. So you may have some unexpected results. So, but anyway, so you can set the limit, and it's a query parameter. That means it goes to the header here. And we also have the offset. So the offset will give us the number, the next page. So what will be the next page of your new set of records? So let's go back to Postman again. Postman is a perfect place to test all this stuff. So this is, let me get this project. I think it's the same. Oop. So let's try it. So it returns all these tasks. So now let's say, okay, good. But let me set my limit to 1. So let's take a closer look here again at this collection before we request again. So if I look at this, it's all the records are here. So the collection in JSON starts with a square bracket. So that means we have all my tasks here. So they are all here. Okay. What if I say if my limit is 1? So I'm telling the Asana REST API that, okay, returns me one record per call. So how Asana will let us know that there are more records. So again, so every REST API will implement this in a different way. So this is the way that Asana have implemented. And by the way, it's very easy to use. So now you see we have one single record, but now we have this new thing here. It's called the next page. So the next page, you have the offset. So this is what you can use in your parameter to set the next page. The path, what's the path, is the part of the URL that you can use. So depending on how you implement your application, your REST API consumption, you can use offset or path or URI. So the URI is the complete path for the next record. So this is the one that we are going to use in Qlik. So what is important here will be the next page and the URI. So we are going to set up this in our connection. So let's go back here to tasks. Okay. So then I have to change my Qlik meetup, my get multiple tasks. So I go here, get multiple tasks. We're going to change it. So the first thing I'm going to do, I don't need to actually change here, but I will. So I would just add the limit equals 1. So why I'm adding 1? I'm adding 1 here just to have the pagination. Otherwise, you'll not have enough data to test. So I'm setting the limit at 1 just to force the pagination. And now click here. Again, there are many different ways to do this. This is the one that I like the most. And fortunately, Asana implemented the next page URL. Oh, okay. So I go to the so then you have the pagination type. So by default you have none. You have the offset, next page, next token, next URL, and the custom one. So I like the next URL because it's the easiest one in Qlik to implement. So then it asks for the next URL path. In this case is next_page and URI. So let me double check URI. So I will test here. It should work because we're not have any pagination, so it should work perfectly. Okay, close. I think about. I'm not sure if I need this, but I will add this to my URL and let's see what happens. So save it. So I will check here. I'll add the same parameter here. So I just change that. I put the limit here, and then so what I'm expecting to see. So this should have the same results. So we are expecting to have 8, right? Yes, 8 tasks. But now what Qlik will do, since we have specified the limit 1, it will do the pagination. So it will have the same result, but Qlik internally in its connection will loop through the pages to give us the correct result. So we should not see any difference here. So let's see if that's true. Okay, so what's going on? So let's start to understand. It's giving us the first one. Oh, I see what's going on. Okay, it's good to have these errors. I try to always, like when I have a problem, an error, to learn with this. So the thing is, this URL here that we have is incomplete because it's missing the pagination part. So I'll keep it for now because we have to reuse it. So let's go to the wizard again, get tasks. So go here, get tasks. Again, check no limit. You see now you see a different the next page thing. So I'll go here. Let me check the whole thing. But at the end, we just need this. Okay, so we don't need to worry about the next page. Actually, I think I can even uncheck that. And I just need the grid and name like we have before. So let's see if that works. I don't see any extra table. I don't need the root. So try to get the same set, but the structure here of the query will be different. So since I have commented out the other, you see before we just have the select and from JSON, but now we have some other levels. So that's because of the pagination part. So, but I can still use this. It works in the same way. Ctrl K to uncomment. I need to do some tabs here. Okay. I don't need this connection here. This is an extra parameter. Not totally sure if we need this, but I will add here just in case. Tab. and I can delete this I can delete those. All right, so I only changed the query parameter, and so you see the structure changed a little bit. Everything else remains the same. So we're getting the data from this REST connection, and we have this where not is null. Not quite sure if we need this. We may, but I'll keep it. It will not hurt. Good. So let's try again. And let me comment this just in case. Export. Okay. 8. All right. This is what you're expecting. So we have all the eight records here. Okay. So perfect. So you see that the output was a little bit different because of the pagination. So we're just doing some other process here inside this thing. Okay. All right. So good. So let me put this back. Export again, and then we have the Parquet file will not be refreshed, but we have the 8 tasks there. So we just double check, and the Parquet files should be here. Task Parquet, select, and we should have the 8 rows here. Good, perfect. All right. Let's close this one. So this is one of the ways you can do pagination here. When things get tricky with the pagination, you see on Qlik community lots of people doing some extra manipulation with those kind of variables to do a pagination using some manipulation here. When people do this, it's usually because they haven't figured out how to do the pagination here in Qlik. It's challenging. It's not easy. So I try to play with some of those offsets and next token for other platforms, and it's hard to make it work. So personally, the one that I have the most success was the next URL. It's usually the easiest one. So that's why I always go to this one. But it can be very frustrating figuring out the pagination. But you always have the option to do manually. So in this case, you can do none, and then you can manipulate this in different ways. Okay? So, all right. So now we just have one more builder, and this one will be very similar to the tasks, okay? But this is to actually get a task, not a collection of tasks. So let me duplicate this one. So how are we going to call this one? So this one will be remain is not tasks anymore, just task, okay? So we save it, open a new tab. All right, I go to editor. So now this will be very similar. So what will be the difference here? So here instead of tasks, you'll be task.parquet file. Okay, you'll have to loop through this records, but this time, remember, if we go to the get a task, we need the task ID. So if I go here, I need to get the task ID, but this time from the tasks Parquet file, and I know that the task ID field is this one, and I call it task ID loop. So I'm just going to the task ID, and creating this task ID loop. So then I will call here v task ID, the variable that loops on every task ID loop. So then now this variable here will be the get task URL. So I can copy this one. I don't need the limits here because this is just one record. And this will be, so let me do this again. So the ID here, you'll be replaced with the v task ID. So that's why I'm putting here. So I can delete all this thing and just make this as a variable. So I'm just replacing the task ID here, the hard-coded value, with the parameter that I'm looping here. So then I can get task details. Oh, I missed that, from task ID, v task ID. Okay. All right. So now this will change totally. So this will be completely changed. Okay. But this is the this will be temp tasks. Temp tasks. So this would be the structure. We load the tasks. So I can delete this too. Oh, actually, let me put here just to keep the same format. So get at task. So so this is how we can insert the connection to your cursor. So boom, just put here. So I'm connected to the REST API. I'm getting the data from the Parquet file, the list of tasks, the distinct list of tasks, looping every task that I have from my Parquet file. So these will be the 8 tasks. And I'll get, I set the URL, and then I will make the request. And then at the end, I just drop this table, and I'll start all the tasks details inside the task Parquet file. So I will test this this is not doing any request. So I'm just connecting, but not actually executing any request. And I will just see if I'm looping from the correct value. So I should see 8 2. Okay. Is this saying that this variable is wrong? It does not exist. So let me copy this and paste here and try again. Okay, so it's just going through that. So you see 8 lines found. So this is from this. And then you have the 8 tasks here. So we are looping correctly. Okay. So now I can just go to get a task. So since this is just a test, I'm not going to get every single field because as you see here, it's a lot of records. Look at that. So it's a lot of things you can add here. So every node this is another level in the JSON file. So I will just keep the root data. So that means I'm just getting the first level of information. So I'm not going down to any sub level, but it's totally doable. So I get, let's see here what we have. Where is the, what do you call it? The GID. I'm not sure if I still have the GID here. I should. It would be nice to have it. Maybe, oh, they just add the prefix here. So actual time, minutes, assigned status, completed. Let me get a, let me see another one. Name is probably the task name, I guess. And I think that's it. And completed add. Okay, just use as an example. Okay, so insert. All right, so now let's clean this up. So the part I have injected is this one here. Okay, so let's adjust this. I will not need because it's connected here already. You could, again, you could do the connection inside the loop, but it will connect and disconnect every time you do the loop. So it's not required because it's this is it's a simple connection, so it does not require much from your connection. So this is fine. So again, making the request, getting the data, and storing this here. So I will just change this. So I call this task. This will be my task ID, and I'll keep these, and I don't need a name. I'll keep it just for now, but I will not keep it at the end. Good. Okay, we are missing one other thing. We need the with connection, and we're going to pass the URL. So URL, double quotes, $, parentheses, get a task URL. So again, let's recap. So we get the list of tasks, loop every task. For every task we loop, we set the URL. We make we do the REST connection, passing the URL. So you'll be a specific request for each task ID. We populate this in this table, and then at the end, we are going to save as a Parquet file. So right now, let's just run. Keep in mind, I'm expecting 8 rows with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 columns. So let's try it. Okay, it's doing all the stuff. Lines fetch 8. Perfect. Again, this alert is just saying, hey, you need to start comment. So let me click on the preview. Okay. So task ID, task name, completed, assigning inbox. Perfect. Perfect. So now let's do one thing. Let's do a test. So I will take, let me see a task here. I will check this create a Qlik Meetup demo script as completed. Let's see if I'm not familiar with this one, but let's try it. How can I do this? Mark as complete. Okay. Yay. All right. So now let's try it again. We should see as completed. Perfect. So mark as completed and true. All right. Now I'm expecting a few problems here with the Parquet file, but let's see. I will just eliminate a few fields. Like I don't need the task name because it's already inside my tasks.parquet file, so it's just redundant. So I will not take it. And just to simplify this, I will also remove the actual time, so I don't need that. So just keep the assigning status if it's completed and when was completed. And that's it. So let's try again. Okay. All right. So perfect. Now what we need to do is just to store this into tasks. Again, you can add as much as field as you want. So I'm just adding those because I don't need, this is just for demonstration, but the structure will be very similar. All right. Let's export again. Okay. I'm curious about the Parquet file. So again, Parquet file is quite new for me. So I'm not sure how it will handle null with a numeric timestamp. So let's see if it properly stored that. So if it doesn't have it correctly, you have all these columns are empty. So it'd be literally empty. So let's see. So select data. I'm looking for task.parquet. Select. Good. Okay, so I see the record here, so it's not causing any problem. So again, if you see a blank, if your whole column is blank, it's because Parquet is not sure if it's a text or if it's a numeric value. So it will just, you'll be confused and you'll not store it. So you have to specify in Qlik, in your load script, if this is a text or a number. Okay. All right, so this is complete. And now you have all your records here in your Qlik Sense and all the Parquet files. Again, the Parquet files are disconnected data, so you don't need at this point your REST connections with Asana API. So you're free to do any analytics app. So I just do a very short application consuming this data. So I do add new. This time it will be not a script, it will be an analytics application. So I go here and I call Asana demo application. Okay, created. And let me go there. Did I type it right? Asana, okay. You can use you can use the data log editor or the data catalog and the data manager. I like to use the data load editor, but you can use any one. I will put every table in a single script, a single section. Usually, the most common thing is to add one section per data set, but just because this is a short one, I use just this one. So go to data files. So I start with products. Select. So I'll just insert it. I'll go data files and I'll add our tasks. Select. Okay, insert, and I'll go to our task. Okay. All right. So like I said before, I like to add the names on my tables. Okay. All right. I just remembered that I promised to you that I'll use what is closest to a real world project. So let me add this the way we are supposed to do. So tasks, remove this here. Okay, and I do task. So one table per section. That's the common way to use it. So you can isolate problems. If you have any problem, you can execute a specific section. So for instance, let me just test products. So I can add products and put an exit script here. And then, by the way, you can move sections around, so you can test different combinations. So I would just load this and execute the products. Okay, so 2 rows. If I check my data model, this is very important, but I'm not going deep into this. But if you go to the data models, you can see how is your table structure, your data model structure in this application. So we have products, you can preview the data, And then if you include all the other tables, so tasks and task. So I think I have all the names correct. So this will design to us a nice data model. So no any kind of error. If I check here, I'm expecting to see a product. So a products table have a list of tasks. In this list of tasks, we can see the detailed tasks. So now you have all your data here and you're ready to build charts here. So I will do a very simple one. So you can put here a list of tables. Let me just add a table, and then you can add a dimension. You can say I'm just interested to see how many tasks I have per project. So I just do a count. So I can just go here, number of tasks, and then I can also change the number format. So I can see now my total of tasks per project, and you can do all this sort of analysis here. This is just the beginning, so you can do analysis of how many tasks are delayed, the projects with assigning per tasks, so any kind of analysis that you need. So this is everything. I know this was a very long topic, but this explains everything from understanding what's the REST API, how can you use Postman to make sure you're understanding the structure of your REST API. By the way, every REST API you have a different implementation. We are lucky to have Asana have a very well documented API and very user friendly. It's easy to use. And then how can we create the REST connections in Qlik and use those connections to collect data from Asana or any other API that you have, and how you can build the Parquet files or KVD files or CSV files, and how you can use those to populate your analytics applications. So I hope you have enjoyed. I hope you have contributed. So again, look for your meetup group, be part of the Qlik community and Qlik Nation, and I see you later. Okay, bye.